Hello everyone, I am back once again with another session for Hyperdimension Neptunia. Now, this session is actually going to be a lot more different compared to the previous ones that I've showcased, and the reason for that is because let it be known that I kind of forgot to turn on my microphone for this session when I was recording it, so a lot of my reactions are basically non-existent at this point, which is a shame because that's kind of one of the reasons why I wanted to actually cover this game, was to actually deliver my perspective. And I still can do that technically. It's just that now, in order to maintain the commentary angle, I actually now have to showcase this session with post commentary. So basically, what I do with the Pokemon matches, I usually just say what happens in the video and kind of just give my thoughts on the matter and whatnot. So that's basically what we're doing here in this video. And to start things off, we're going to actually explore this here dungeon right here. This is supposedly the level 80 dungeon that we saw in the last session. I was very curious as to how challenging this dungeon was going to be, especially after seeing that the last battle is with R4 or something like that. So I wanted to do this first in order to, kind of prepare for it. And if it's decent grinding grounds, maybe even level up a bit, maybe to like level 85 or even level 90. Because if the dungeons are increasing in level up to level 80, that means that up ahead we might be entering some level 100 territory or something. And I do want to be prepared for that. This will also give me an opportunity to practice the switch mechanics that this game has. So yeah, that's another thing that motivated me to explore this dungeon. But there's also just the fact that I also want to complete the dungeon as well. Okay, so here we go. So as you saw, there was actually a monster call thing that I did there. The reason why was because I wanted to not have to deal with a lot of encounters with the enemies. However, if you listen to Compa carefully, you'll actually notice that she doesn't sound too confident, which means that the enemies are actually going to be probably threatening, which isn't good, obviously. Because they actually, that means that usually they're going to be a lot more powerful, maybe even over leveled, because remember that not all of the characters that I have on this team are level 80. I believe it's only Neptune, Iffy, and Compa that are level 80. Nisa and Gust aren't. Not that they're ever in the match for too long anyway, but sometimes being on even grounds means that they're going to be very, very difficult to deal with. Remember that when I deal with these dungeons, I usually try to be several levels above it in order to be able to, take care of them much more easily. But here, yeah, these enemies they're quite chunky, and they're taking quite a bit to take them out completely. Here I think I take out one of them, dish out damage for the second one. Because as you saw against Nisa, the things hit really, really hard. And Nisa's one of the more chunkier of allies, so that's saying a lot. That means that Neptune and Compa are probably not going to appreciate these things' attacks. In fact, it's already evident right here. Nisa almost goes down. Thanks to her chunkiness, she survives though and is able to heal up. Compa is also debilitated, and she's also able to heal up as well, thankfully. Because there are times where I could be low in HP, and unfortunately I'm not in range to heal, which is pretty lame. Here we're going to take out this enemy as well, so that we don't have to deal with its shenanigans. This one we also try to finish it off as soon as possible. Nisa's going to hopefully finish this thing off, and she does. And with that, we finish the first lineup of enemies here. When doing the monster call, these enemies usually last up to 4 cycles, with the occasional 5 or less, like 3. But it's more often than not 4 cycles, which can be quite time consuming, especially given how chunky these enemies are. This enemy in particular is actually an interesting one because it's not like a horde of enemies like the cannons were. So this means that it'll only attack like one of our characters, which is not bad because that means we have better odds of survivability. we can take out the enemy before it even, you know, finishes us off completely. The problem here though is that the enemies are powerful and they do a lot of damage that they very well could just 2-hit KO in some instances, especially Kampa, since she seems to be the most defenseless of all the characters. That might even include Gust, honestly, which is kind of insane to say. Because if anything, in terms of appearance, she's the one that looks the most defenseless. But stats-wise, I think Kampa still is the most defenseless. Either way, we took out that. Now we get another one of this. This is the third wave, by the way. This is the third lineup of characters, of enemies. It's still one singular target, but remember that these things hit really, really hard. And we don't want to be taking so much damage. Kampa gets weakened yet again, but it seems like right now, like, unfortunately for me, she's not in range, I think, to heal, which is unfortunate. I at first thought I was maybe low in resources, but as you can see on the bottom right, I actually do have a decent amount of resources to implement the healing. I think what happens is that I was just not in range for her to heal again, which is a shame. Here I try to finish this thing off, and I do, but the last lineup of enemies is actually those 3 cannons, and here I'm gonna witness something that I was kinda not expecting, just given how the first line of these cannons, like how they fared and whatnot, which was somewhat doable. They did get to dish out a few hits, but look at this. They attack Kampa, they take her out, unfortunately, then they attack Neptune, I heal, then they attack Iffy, then they attack Neptune again, then they attack yet again, and then Iffy again, and then they put us both at red, which is just insane work. That was a lot of free attacks that they got right there. And when I saw this, I was just like, you know what, no way. We gotta destroy these things right away, because otherwise these things will just be a nightmare to deal with, and God forbid we get taken out completely by this thing. Not to mention, we don't want this to drag for too long either, because we don't want this to be like draining our resources, you know, the stuff that allows us to heal in the battle and all that stuff, and allows us to revive whenever enemies fall, or when allies fall. We revived Kampa right there, but I think somewhere around here she gets taken out again, because these cannons are just relentless and they don't go down that easily. There you have it, double attack on Kampa yet again, which is a shame. You hate to see it. They attack Kampa and Neptune again. If they attacked both, like one of us like twice, one of us would have definitely have gone down. But because they split, you know, we still lived. So thankfully we had decent odds. So much so that even Iffy was able to revive Kampa yet again, despite having fallen again, which is kind of insane. It also took a while to take out these enemies, which is just insane work as well, because damn, this was just our first encounter, and already we're, you know, having it rough around these parts. Because of that, I actually made it my priority to just find the boss and not even bother with exploring the dungeon. This is a level 80 dungeon too, so I don't think hanging around here for too long is a good idea. We'll just run out of resources then, and then I'll be forced to waste more money to get more. In fact, after this dungeon, I think that's exactly what I do. Yeah, but here are some chests that I actually, you know, collect the treasure of. Obviously, I'm not gonna explore all of the chests because they're scattered all over the dungeon, and I don't want to spend too much time looking for them, especially given the levels of the enemies. Thankfully, the boss appears just over here, so this is not looking too bad. My concern is how powerful this thing is, and how chunky it is too, by extension, because if they're chunky, they're going to last for far too long, and they're probably going to dish out a decent amount of damage, especially if they're a combination of both powerful and chunky, which they usually are. Of course, this enemy looks kind of like the one from the level 25 dungeon that we did in the last session, but obviously because this is a level 80 dungeon, I wasn't really sure how chunky this enemy was going to be, and I wasn't really expecting it to be anything of a pushover. So immediately the transformation was in order there, and you know, did what we had to do from there. Here I'm trying to get as much attack as I can from Nisa before switching off to Iffy. I kind of want Iffy to be up front because if this enemy turns out to like destroy all of us, it's gonna at least try to heal all of us, because remember that Iffy and Compa both have this like healing ability which allows not only for self-healing but also for ally healing as well, which allows us to all recover at a decent, you know, at a decent pace. So here we're doing some decent damage for a start. The problem is that my team is currently kind of crippled thanks to the freaking monster call thing. If I had known that this enemy was going to be here much sooner, I probably would not have even bothered with the monster call. But I thought we were just going to be here all day, so, you know, I kind of just did the monster call thing, and that sure wore us thin. As you can see, both Compa and Iffy go down here because this enemy is actually ridiculously powerful. It even, like, as you can see, it actually does have potential to 2-hit KO literally everyone if it chooses to attack one target at a time. So here, here's another thing that I realized that I personally was just stupefied upon realization, but notice how both Compa and Iffy went down, and notice how Gust and Nisa are not replacing them whatsoever. Yeah, apparently that's not how this game works. Once they're both down, you cannot send those two to replace them. You just have to let Neptune try to fend for herself, which, as you can see, did not work out whatsoever. So because of that, I actually choose to battle them once more, since I personally do not want to restart this whole dungeon given how difficult it is to deal with. So I'm going to take my chances to fight them again in this condition and hope for better odds, which seems to be the case now, given that Compa now gets attacked first and does survive and is definitely in range to be able to fully heal again. Well, almost fully heal, but heal a decent amount where, you know, she can at least take a hit. Here I transform immediately because I need to immediately attack as much as I can. I went for shield attacks here because I was wondering if I could maybe break the mold in order to take this thing out quicker. Same goes with Nisa, just shatter the mold. And then from there maybe have Iffy do all of the physical attacking, which is what I do right here. I switch to Iffy and go straight for the attacks as opposed to the weapon attacks, because we're close to shattering the mold, and I want to believe that once the mold is shattered, we just go for physical attacks and it'll do a lot. That's my way of thinking, but I'm not even sure if that's the way to go about this. I could be like dead wrong on this. But remember that I'm not familiar with how these things work. I should probably look it up, but again, you know, I'm too lazy. I'm more intrigued with the story, and I kind of just want to progress through it as quickly as possible. Yeah, here with Compa, I'm just going for the ice bullet because, again, I don't know which bullet is ideal for this particular boss, so I just go with whatever I think works, or whatever looks like it's dishing out a lot of damage. Here I'm actually going to switch into Gust, just to extend the combo and dish out even more damage, even if it's a little. Because you saw in the last session that Gust doesn't really do a lot of damage, but something is something, you know what they say. Something interesting does happen here. She actually activates her own means of healing and actually does heal Neptune and Iffy a little bit as well. So that's actually nice. And it came upon switching, so I don't know if that's the item skill for that. I actually don't remember, even though I was the one that put it on her. But yeah. So here we're going to do our shtick of just dishing out some damage, and then we're going to actually switch back to Compa. While these switching mechanics are actually decent for extending combos, I gotta say that the most obnoxious thing about this though is that it always keeps switching my elemental bullets. It always reverts it back to the normal one, which is super annoying because then I forget. I'm usually too busy like autopiloting that I don't even see it sometimes. And it just gets annoying to have to shift it every time. But I guess it is a worthy trade-off if it means we can dish out more damage to these enemies. But anyways, so this enemy's almost gonna go down. Unfortunately, Neptune was not able to take this thing out before it gets to attack again, and as a result, yeah, this thing is gonna get to attack one last time, and it's gonna target Neptune twice, unfortunately. Yeah, because this thing was already powerful enough to basically do that to literally any of my characters, But unfortunately, they went for Neptune. I was personally hoping they'd go after Iffy, because Iffy has been kind of getting ahead of Neptune in terms of the EXP, specifically because for some reason this game just never targets Iffy. It targets Compa and Neptune a lot more. Hell, even Nisa takes a lot of beatings too, honestly, compared to Iffy, which is just insane work. But it'd be what it'd be, honestly. At the end of the day, we thankfully took care of this dungeon at least. We at least made it out, like, you know, not unscathed, but, you know, like in a decent manner. Like we were not like, how do you say it, like, we were not dragging ourselves across the floor or anything for this or anything like that. We just got like taken down at the end with one character. The enemies are just kind of insane because they all have potential to freaking 2-hit KO you, which is insane work. So I guess it was also a matter of like just having some decent odds in your favor. Which means that there was potential for it to end the way I was fearing it would. But, you know, it'd be what it'd be. Anyways, so here, as you can see, I'm in the store because, like I said before, this dungeon was using up a lot of my resources, and if anything up ahead is anything to, like, you know, be feared, then we would want to be prepared for it. So we need to stock up on some supplies to, you know, be ready. And yeah, although I think I said this, I don't remember if I said this or not, but supposedly, yeah, from here onwards, I think that's basically it in terms of like exploring dungeons, because yeah, let it be known that from here on out it's mostly just, you know, exposition. We're gonna actually like explore these dungeons and see what goes on, or not dungeons, these basilicums, because yeah, it says right here that this is the final battle with R4, but something happens after we check this thing out. You see where it says CPU's refusal? This is actually a chance for us to actually go to the CPUs of each landmass. And I think the goal here is to basically try to convince them to join our team so that we can take on R4 together. And to start things off, we're gonna explore Louis' CPU first, Whiteheart, which is kind of like bad, because we all know how she is.
Lady Whiteheart, some travelers are requesting an audience. What would you like to do?
I've heard that before. Just bring them in.
As you can see, she already sounds very like hesitant to even receive us, which is kind of insane. But also to be expected, given her nature.
Yo, Lady Whiteheart. You seem bored and pissy as usual.
Yeah, when isn't she is the real question.
I am now. Neptune, the other two, and you kidnapped a fourth?
Yeah, because I don't know if you know this, but this is Histoire, and Histoire doesn't, or she doesn't seem to know who Histoire is.
Hungry little piggy. We're here today to show Isti off to you.
This is the interesting thing of this whole thing, though, is that,
We only met a few weeks ago.
is that Histoire actually visits all these CPUs.
I'm glad she seems to be on the same idiotic wavelength as you.
This remark actually testifies to it.
Practically a part of me. Tuning into my wavelength is only natural.
Which is a funny thing to say, considering that she would actually be calling herself an idiot.
Anyway, I have some important things to discuss with you today. Will you listen?
Fine. Make it snappy.
So she does tell her everything, but here's the kicker. You're gonna see right now, it's not gonna go as we'd hoped.
Uh-huh. So R4 is out to destroy the world with monsters. You believe this, Neptune?
Yeah, she's gonna believe it, but like here's the thing. It's gonna come down to whether or not she believes it. Whiteheart, that is. Because the point is to try to convince her to join our team, but
Well, naturally. We fought her a bunch of times now. You met her too. Remember Conversación?
yeah, the one that was reprimanding her for all the freaking stuff that she was, like her bitchy attitude and all that stuff. Even R4 seemed to be aware of her habits, actually. And she was also not finding it amusing.
R4's creepy alter egos. gonna bust up the world. We don't know why yet, but your land's in danger too.
Despite all that, she doesn't seem to be like taking the matter seriously, which is kind of insane.
1. What is she going to do after destroying the human world? So pointless.
The crazy thing is that she be asking a bunch of questions that don't really have anything to do with the matter at hand, or it's just like her not taking the matter seriously at all.
The frequent monster attacks and manipulating the guild won't affect the world at large much.
It's almost like trying to like, you know, like ignore the problem in a way. Or maybe underestimating it. Because she was already told by Histor how serious the matter is, yet here she is just, rather than just saying, you know what, we got to do something about this, she just be asking these silly questions.
But it involved all of us. Please help. Are you gonna ignore this as a goddess?
And here she's just gonna continue. Watch.
3. Why would I help you, who preaches about being a goddess when she doesn't even remember her past?
Yeah, that's the crazy thing. She ignores what she says and just continues to ask stupid questions, and one of them, it doesn't even have anything to do with the problem at hand. It's basically just calling out.
You leave. I'm not helping you.
It's basically her just calling out Neptune for not remembering stuff, which is kind of annoying because it's like she's trying to like get help here, and she's just being kind of petty in a way. But given that this is Whiteheart, this kind of response from her was definitely to be expected. So yeah, obviously that didn't work out. And as you can see, after we communicated with Whiteheart, now there's 2 other things we can actually do before getting into the so-called last battle. And it's to see if we can actually get to the other 2 CPUs, that being Greenheart and Blackheart, and see if they are willing to join us. Whiteheart, we expected her to be a pain in the rear end, so, you know, what more could we expect from there, honestly? But I personally wanted to believe that maybe Greenheart would actually be able to be more reasonable. Maybe she'd understand the situation more. After all, she actually did have to go through her own little redemption arc after what happened in with the Basilicum and all that stuff. The freaking Archbishop poisoning Neptune, her not being aware of it. When she learned about how corrupt the whole Basilicum was becoming, she started to take matters seriously. And I think she even thanked the group for helping her out on that. So like they have to be on good terms, unlike with Whiteheart, which they were never in good terms. Even when she was like quote unquote safe from the heretics or whatever, or the extremists or whatever, she just said, oh yeah, thank you, that's it. But like she still hates everybody apparently, which is insane work. But yeah, so here obviously I'm gonna make my way to I believe Leanbox, so yeah, obviously give me a sec for that. Okay, so now we're here in Leanbox, and now here we're gonna actually go to Greenheart to see if she's willing to help the gang in defeating R4 and all that stuff. However, here, as you can see right here, I think supposedly the what's it called? Supposedly she's not there at the Basilicum.
Lady Greenheart isn't here?
I'm sorry. She's been out fighting monsters every single day lately.
Which goes to show you that she came to like terms to,
Feminine
you know,
and gentle Lady
being
Greenheart
responsible and all
fighting
that.
monsters? What's going on?
All kinds of things, obviously.
I'm not sure. She's been acting different, and we're all a little worried about her. I could tell you which dungeon she headed towards if you wish to go and bring her back.
Sure.
So she's taking her job very seriously to the point where she's even going out of her way to destroy monsters, which is kind of what I've been expecting all the other CPUs to do. So it's again quite commendable that Greenheart herself is willing to do it, unlike the other 2. Regardless though, because we need to approach her for the whole situation of, you know, her needing to assist us and all. We need to go find her obviously, and we're gonna find her here in the in this dungeon here. So therefore, I kind of lied, I think, when I said that this was gonna be it in terms of exploring dungeons, because we still have this one right here. But yeah, so this dungeon is, yeah, it's like one of these castle-looking places. We're gonna be looking for Greenheart here, hoping that these enemies are not like savages or anything like that. I heard that the Bourbonette enemies could appear in the Hyrule Castle, but I just don't remember if this is the one
Let's get him in a
or
single
not.
turn.
But yeah. So these things, yeah, these things look like the flower things that you see a lot in the teleportation dungeons, which are to be underestimated, in my opinion. Given that we're now pretty over level at this point. And as you can see, they were easily Thanos snappable too, which is nice. Given the lengthiness of the dungeon though, obviously this is the part where I actually try to, you know, do the whole monster call thingy. And because this is a story dungeon as opposed to one of those optional ones, I want to believe that the enemies here will not be as busted as the ones from the level 80 dungeon, because if so, then that's just next levels of insanity. The demand for leveling up would actually be real on that front. We took out a birdie, which is nice. Now we're taking on these flower thingies, which are definitely destructible. This is the third wave here, which consists of the same enemies, which again are disposable. One last birdie. It is chunky, but definitely manageable, especially with all the given extensions.
You're not worth telling my name.
Decent EXP. And then from there, we managed to continue, basically. I don't remember how long this dungeon was. I think it wasn't that long. Especially given that in this one, kind of like the other ones, even though this is not an optional one, I'm just going through it like as quickly as possible because again, I don't want to be around for too long. I am trying to get an idea of where the right way is here. Because some of these dungeons are in fact expansive and it's like, yeah, I have to be very alert as to where the right path is. Because it's kind of hard to tell with this map. Sometimes when I turn around, it looks like the map is aiming in a certain direction and it turns out that that's not how it is. It's kind of confusing. That might actually add to the intricacies of this game that makes it very hard to play. But yeah, I believe in that the right area right there. I think that's where you find a Greenheart, I think. Yeah, it's right here.
There you are, Lady Green. Heart? Oh no! She overheated and fell. We must help her.
Yeah, which is insane. She does have that habit.
Kumpa, Nep, and Iffy.
Taking too much heat now.
Don't talk. You must cool down. Let me treat you with some ice packs. Oh, please don't move.
Yeah, it's crazy how she able to like,
Thank you.
you
but
know,
I'm okay.
even
I'm a
fight.
goddess. This isn't-
Especially if she's in this form.
Are you here to fight monsters too? You should go to another dungeon. I can handle this place alone.
But then again, Neptune is also able to fight like that too, no? In her human form.
No! I can't let you fight anymore with those wounds. You need to go back and rest up for a bit. These monsters aren't gonna go anywhere.
Oh yeah, no, by no means. As long as Arthur's around, they're gonna be in abundance. She passed out again, didn't she?
She's out.
Yep.
We have to carry her back. Iffy, get her legs.
So yeah, Greenheart apparently has this tendency to...
Huh? Oh, sure. You've gotten a lot more confident since I first met you.
Oh yeah, because at first she was kind of like unwilling to do a lot of this stuff. But again, the experience can go a long way, especially the longer you do it. But anyways, so yeah, Greenheart has this tendency to like overheat for some reason. She must be hot-blooded or something. She was said to be fighting a lot of monsters, so...
My lady? Stay down, please. Your injuries aren't bad, but your body is very, very hot.
I'll say.
I'm fine. I've slacked off enough. I need to push my limits.
Which is commendable. Goes to show you that she's willing to
I've awoken
improve.
to my true mission. I want to protect this land as its goddess.
Which is also commendable, considering the other two goddesses don't even do such
But you
things.
need to take care of yourself to do that. Plus, the monsters aren't your fault.
That is also true.
Kampa, allow me to explain. Is this our first time meeting? I am Eastwar, the one who presides over this world.
Which is insane.
Histoire. Oh, I know you. I heard a voice in my head once who said the same name.
Which is something I've always wondered was actually a thing with the goddesses besides Neptune. Because I was actually wondering, like, why doesn't Histoire communicate with the other goddesses? Because they don't seem to know who she is.
So the Isti that Nep was talking about was you. I thought I was just hearing things out of boredom.
Yeah, no, apparently she had some limitations given that she was under Arfor's
My voice
captivity.
could only reach goddesses at the time. I do not blame your disbelief. Now then, let us talk about the former goddess Arfor. You are involved in this too.
Now, remember that I said that Greenheart might be the more reasonable one and she might be willing to actually join us and actually like assist us in taking out Arfor, but her response here is actually a surprising
The cause
one.
of our war, the monsters.
Yeah, because the monsters are kind of wreaking havoc all over the land masses. And some of the CPUs are actually not doing their job in taking care of their lands either. So that doesn't help matters either. And then there's Arfor just, you know, causing a ruckus and having some negative influences over the citizens of the land masses. It's all kinds of insanity.
The conflict between the aristocrats and the Basilicon. All instigated by Arfor.
Effectively. So basically what they want is for you to join them, obviously.
She still possesses the powers of a goddess.
Which is not to be underestimated.
Her power is absolute, different from the abilities you currently have.
Yeah. Apparently the CPUs have limitations compared to the former goddess who was like the alpha goddess or something like that. I personally still find it insane that she even had the ability to become like evil. Usually alphas are righteous
Why
and
did she want
stuff.
to destroy the world?
That I have no information on. But we cannot let her continue. Please, lend us your power.
Okay, here comes the response that I was personally
I'm
not
sorry,
expecting from
but caring
Greenheart.
for my land is my first priority. I understand it may sound foolish, but
And foolish it may very well be, given that if Arfor gets away with doing more shenanigans, she might take over the world completely and then there won't be any land to protect.
Mad and yelling and stuff. I am. How can she do this even though she used to be a goddess?
Oh, that is despicable. But what are we gonna do?
She doesn't deserve that title.
No, by no means.
Neptune, you still don't remember your past, do you? Please don't act like you know what it means to be a goddess.
In other words, getting ahead of herself. Because she only knows that she is one, but doesn't really know how to implement the responsibilities and all that stuff.
I realized this by interacting with the people here. The goddesses are the foundations of this planet. If the former goddess is doing this because she was tired of the responsibility, I sympathize somewhat.
But you don't sympathize with Neptune and her inability to remember things at the moment? That's kind of insane work. You don't even like acknowledge that you were one of the ones that had a hand in her amnesia.
You can't talk her down when you're not even aware of yourself or your responsibilities as a goddess.
Like, she might have a point, but the thing is that she's also kind of being a hypocrite herself, honestly.
Please leave. I'd like to focus on myself and Leanbox.
Okay. But yeah, that's the thing. That's the crazy thing. Like, I thought she was actually going to be more receptive to helping out Neptune and the rest of the gang, but apparently not. And it all comes down once again to that whole, like, criticizing Neptune for not remembering anything. Which for me was just like, why on earth is this the thing again? Like, why are we going to be petty over this? Like, I can understand her being sympathetic towards R4 and all that stuff, if the whole not wanting to be responsible for stuff was a thing. But that doesn't mean that now she's going to tell Neptune, oh, you don't have any right to say any of that. I know she gets a little ahead of herself and sounds a little, like, a little too blunt at times, but I don't know. To be fair, Greenheart did say it in the nicest way possible. She could have been like Whiteheart and still be bitchy, honestly. But again, I was just kind of expecting her to be a little bit more understanding of the situation. She seems to be a bit of an airhead though, because how is she going to prioritize Leanbox if she knows R4 is the big threat here, honestly? And it's going to eventually affect the whole world, you know? I don't know. But regardless, here we're going to just make our way to I believe it was La Station. Yeah, La Station. So obviously we're gonna skip all this. Damn teleportations. But yeah, so here we are now in La Station, and now we're gonna actually see what what Blackheart has to say about this whole thing. Her case is also kind of interesting because first we have Whiteheart, who was just like, I don't want to help you because I don't want to help you. Then we have Greenheart, who is just like, I cannot help you because I really want to take my job seriously, and you're not helping in that matter for whatever that's worth given the circumstances. And now we have Blackheart here, who actually wants to resign apparently,
Stop the formalities. I'm retiring as goddess today.
which is insane work. But I don't think she even knows.
Politicians resign when they screw up, right? Avenir, the Tech Expo. I've caused so much trouble for everyone.
Yeah. It's nice to see that she acknowledges that she did have a hand in her shortcomings, but she wants to like give up at the worst possible time right now, given that right now R4 is kind of running amok all over the place.
You have to take full responsibility.
It was my mistake to interfere with the human world. I should have stayed in Celestia.
Something that she probably should have thought like much sooner, but
Integrate
you know.
the sanctuary and parliament. There will be minor conflicts at first, but eventually they'll learn to get along.
You know what they say is better late than never.
Still,
Enough of your interjections. These are the last commands from La Station CPU. Just accept it.
The Sanctified.
I asked everyone to stay away for a while.
Yeah. She wants to resign, but the gang comes and tries to tell her that, hey, wait a minute, something is up here.
Long time no see, my lady. It's your favorite party along with Isty.
Yeah.
What are you all doing here? And another member on top of it? Fine, whatever. You may leave.
What I find amusing is that she also doesn't know who Histor is.
I got a question. Whose love child do you think Isty is? Ready? Go.
She probably doesn't know, and I don't even think she cares either, honestly.
What? Love child?
Quit with the random crap. Sorry, she's definitely nobody's love child.
Yeah, it's just Neptune being her silly self as always. It's no wonder these CPUs haven't been taking her seriously lately.
Anyway, my lady, we came here to Isti will explain the details.
There's her eye roll, which means she's not gonna find it amusing whatsoever, which is kind of insane work too. Because this is serious business.
Huh, okay. That explains everything about the monsters in Avenir.
Yep, Arthur had an influence on the whole thing, which wasn't
You're
good.
saying it was done by our former goddess, Arfor?
Effectively.
Uh-huh. Even though she was this world's goddess, she did a class change and became a villain.
Which is something you wouldn't expect from an alpha.
How can you accept that as a goddess? I want to ask you to come with us and beat her up.
Yeah, because usually alpha characters tend to be like the more righteous ones. They never turn to the side of evil. But this game actually made a twist in making it so that that was the case, which is kind of interesting, actually.
Sorry, I was just going back to Celestia. I swore to myself I was done with the human world.
Which does sound like a good reason to join the team now, because that's exactly where they're trying to go to as well.
That's perfect then. Arfor is in Celestia right now. Please, we beg you. Arfor will destroy the world. We need your power.
This story's unbelievable. All these monsters are from our former goddess, and that girl's at home? I met the evangelist you claim was Arfor.
Yeah, she kind of had an influence all over the places, like in all of the landmasses to some extent.
She didn't look like someone who'd destroy the world to me, but it's not like I care.
Well, you should care, because if she takes over the world, then she's gonna take over you.
Yeah, well, but, monsters exist, you know? Who else can summon them besides a goddess?
True, with the distribution of the discs coming from R4, no one else.
Meh, maybe someone's breeding them in a monster ranch or something.
As if this were Pokemon, which is just silly, honestly.
Whatever. Monster Rancher isn't a job. That's so silly.
But that's the thing, like how, yeah. Like, how on earth would that even work?
Just shut up! First off, Neptune, you haven't gotten your memory back, have you?
No, but again, I kind of don't get the deal with
You're
that.
such a nosy little outsider. Don't tell me what to do. Are you done? I'm not helping. I'm not joining you. You got that? Now get out of here.
Bitch. Yeah, I know. Okay, so this part is kind of like insane, because literally all three of the CPUs just said basically no. A lot of them they all seem to want to like complain about Neptune's inability to remember things. Maybe it's because of how determined she is despite not remembering anything, and that seems to bother them all for some reason. There is something here that kind of puts things into a little bit of perspective, albeit I still don't understand it entirely. But something happens here when we go to Planet Neptune right here. Apparently it refers to a recollection of sorts. But yeah, so I just find it insane though, like regardless of how things work out here, that not a single one wanted to help, and it's all because of their pettiness for having it out towards Neptune for some reason. What happens here later is actually quite interesting though. You're gonna see in a bit right now, so just give me a sec. So now that we're here in Planet Neptune, we're gonna actually see how this recollection thing is about to go and, you know, unfold basically. We're gonna see that Neptune here is gonna be like kind of wondering like what's the deal with these CPUs? Why are they like not taking her seriously? Why are they criticizing her over her inability to remember things? Do they just like not respect her or whatever because of that alone, or is there something else to it? She kind of starts to wonder a lot of things basically.
Aww. Is it because I don't know anything?
Or something. But remember that they had it out for her even before she got jumped, so something else must have happened.
They're not gonna listen to me until I can remember my past as a goddess.
But again, even if that was the
Oh, well.
case,
We can do this alone, without the other goddesses. Cheer up.
yeah, but the thing is that They could have at least listened to his story.
Really want to remember, this is our last resort. Let's shake you like when you smacked into the ground from the sky.
Which is just silly because how would that work? She didn't even shake when she went to the ground. She only got launched like a missile.
Syringe. Only old TVs get fixed when you smack them.
Which is hilarious because I remember doing something similar to that when with one of my old CRTs that I no longer have, by the way. Because yeah, it for some reason was like turning off every time, like when I played games and stuff, like it would just turn off every now and then. I was just like, what's up with this TV? Turns out that one of the plugs was actually loose, so that's why actually it would always do that. I needed to put it with a much more tighter plug, and it was only then that it was finally able to work as it should. But damn, goes to show you you gotta learn things the hard way, which is, yeah,
Haven't
it'd
you
be what it
seen
be.
Nep Nep when she uses her special skill? She might be kind of similar to household appliances.
Which special skill? The transformation? Maybe. Or is she referring to like the other stuff, like the item skills or something? I honestly don't know.
Don't look at me like that. It's not gonna work. I'll just get a headache.
A terrific headache. Or something.
Then, how about some medical treatment? Planetoon's medical technology is very effective, but very pricey.
Even for Neptune herself, who is supposed to be the goddess of the land? Can't they like have like a discount or something? That would have been at least the most reasonable thing to do. Or something.
How much? This is a worldwide crisis. If this'll turn things around, I'd consider it.
Hmm.
Well,
Whisper, whisper.
Hell no, advanced technology is bad. Let's stick to the old-fashioned way. Get ready for my backhand, Nep.
I like how she's not gonna treat it as a TV. But it be what it be.
no hitting cute little girls. Don't give me a shot. Don't shoot me. Don't cut me, gut me, slap me, clap me, or pinch me.
Cause she might be dreaming. I don't know.
Once more, let us return to the goddesses. I will convince them, no matter what.
Well, that's the thing. They didn't even listen to you the first time. How would they listen to you now? What conditions have to be met in order for stuff to actually kick the fan?
Impossible. I want to get my memory back too. I feel like I'm just running away if I don't.
Well, yeah, who doesn't, honestly? There's a lot of, like, need to know more. But never knowing how to go about it is the real deal.
Worry not, buddies. We'll find a way to get my memory back, and then we can go ask the CPUs to join us again.
Unless they want to be bitches again and just decline you yet again because they still find you annoying for one reason or another.
Truly insist. I can repair your missing records using the tome.
Yeah, apparently she's gonna, like, go about this in a certain way.
What? How? I thought you didn't have the power to write in the tome without a goddess.
Say for
Repairing is an exception. We have had facts disappear before, like UFOs.
yeah, apparently she has like a loophole that lets her do some things that will allow her to return some of her memories. It functions like a repair.
Are you sure? Once your memory is regained, there is no forgetting it again.
Why would you even ask her that given the circumstances? That's just silly talk. Even if she didn't want it, I think she would have to know it regardless. It's part of who she is. Why deny it for her, honestly? Or why even give her the choice to just dispose of it when it's of the essence? That just makes no sense. And again, the circumstances are just not ideal at the moment. You'd just be compromising.
I'm a CPU, right? A goddess has got to protect her land and stuff.
You're lucky Neptune's actually receptive to this.
My job to convince the other chicks to fight R4 and protect game industry.
Yeah, because if she wasn't and she was just like how she was earlier in the adventure, then this probably would not have worked out.
Come on, let's hurry. Monsters are still out there attacking peeps.
But yeah.
No worries, ladies. This Neptune isn't gonna go anywhere. Let's just do it.
if anything, she'll probably be a lot more enlightened. But I don't know if that'll also get to her head when she actually starts to know more things. Maybe that's what the CPUs didn't like.
Here it is.
Yeah, let her have it. Okay, so this is the interesting part of the whole thing. Apparently, Histoire is going to put Neptune to sleep, and in her sleep, she's going to be like dreaming her past or something. Interestingly enough, Neptune herself actually feels like she's actually in the real world or something. Like she's not dreaming. She thinks she's not dreaming. She thinks everything around her is still real. Which is next levels of insanity. Basically, this is gonna show her like stuff that happened, I think, before the CPUs were made. So this is something that, this is all stuff that maybe Histoire or maybe R4 had told her in the past. Otherwise, I don't know how she would actually know about this.
Excuse me, do you know where... Whoa! R4? I finally gotcha! This'll be our final battle!
Her thinking that this is all real is what makes this kind of hilarious too. Because R4 is just like, I don't know what you're talking about. Or she doesn't actually notice her existence because she's kind of invisible to everyone.
What's up? Are you totally not gonna say hi?
They can't because she's not part of the whole thing yet.
I can't rule the human world anymore. This must be the time.
The time for her replacement, effectively.
R4, what is the matter? You appear tense.
Yeah, this is a conversation between her and R4.
Where did Isty come from? Hello?
She's getting ignored because she ain't part of this whole thing just yet.
Am I, like, invisible? Or are they just ignoring me? Fine, whatever. I'll just be a voyeur like I always wanted.
Sure, man, sure.
I can't stand it anymore, Histoire. We must create a new, more competent CPU.
It's kind of insane how sincere R4 sounds in all of this, given how she's been throughout the whole series right now.
The next goddess may need another to share in the responsibility. Celestia is far too quiet for one person after all.
And it is here where she sparks the idea of creating 4 CPUs. Each with their own personalities, I can only assume, given that they all function rather differently. But they have quite some flawed personality traits as well, that can make them somewhat despicable. But I don't know if that's Histoire's fault to begin with, or is it maybe R4's?
Oh, the air feels a bit different now.
Because time has passed, and I believe they're still in the process of creating the 4 CPUs.
Histoire, I've rewritten each land's records for the 4 goddesses.
The records. But not the CPUs yet. This is probably what's going to be put for the CPUs, I think. So that they all know their role in society or something.
By the time the new CPUs are born, billions of years will have passed in the human world. No sign of my rule will remain by then.
That sounds way too good to be true. And given how R4 looks here, all mage-like.
Look, these are your children. They have your eyes.
Like, one has to wonder how on earth can she still be trusted.
That's not funny.
I'd say that Blackheart is the one that probably looks like her the most.
Give them your knowledge, your experiences, your wisdom. That is how things are passed on in history.
Yeah. And maybe they can make a better example.
And my responsibilities. This detestable ritual may end someday.
Ritual.
End? Sure. I hope these new goddesses will be able to change the future.
Because if not, then there's gonna be another series of chaos.
Neptune! Neptune!
I find this funny because she's still herself, her amnesic self.
What? Me? Are you talking to me now? Well, why'd you ignore me all this time, you big boobed meanie?
Lol.
Celestia is in a very unstable state right now. Each CPU is changing their planet as they see fit.
I do find it interesting how this is how Histor actually makes
People
Neptune
below
learn
are
everything.
dragged around by their goddesses' selfish acts.
Even Arthur is aware of the goddess's selfish acts, which was made clear at the beginning of the game, with only Neptune sounding like the more wiser one of the four. Well, followed by Greenheart as well, because Greenheart had her own side as well.
This sounds familiar.
Take the other goddesses down. Bring them down and unify both the human world and Celestia.
Yeah, so right here, she actually tries to like tell Neptune to actually take down the other goddesses
That
to
is the
become the
only
true
way to
CPU or
save
something like
people
that.
From the impending apocalypse.
Which means that she would actually, it's possible that she might have
The
been,
other CPUs, Celestia will be forced to accept you as the true goddess and let you protect the world.
I don't know if Arthur telling Neptune this was actually what led to Neptune getting it into her head a lot and made her maybe cocky or something, and that's what the CPUs didn't like, the other ones. Because if that's the case, then maybe it might be somewhat understandable why the goddesses have it out for Neptune, but otherwise, I don't know. She does say something else, or Neptune actually says something here later that actually puts things into a whole different perspective and kind of confuses me even further.
Unless you bring order to the human world, you are the only one who can save game industry.
Yeah, so she tells her that, but like, then Neptune says something else that she remembers, and this gets her frustrated.
I remember that. I was told I'm the only one who can save the world. That's why I wanted to help the folks in need.
Yeah, and she was trying to do that, but apparently the other CPUs didn't agree with it or something. But here's where things get kind of insane.
Goddesses to protect my own land.
Yeah. So she was. But then this happens.
Why didn't we notice? Everyone else was probably told the same poppycock.
Yeah, that right there says a lot of stuff, actually. Because that's suggesting that Arthur might have told exactly what she told Neptune to the other CPUs as well. Which would explain the war that broke out between all four of the CPUs. And then they just so happened to conclude that Neptune should be the one banished from Celestia in order for, you know, her to not have to be a problem with the other three goddesses.
Lied to by that meanie hag, Arthur.
Which, if so, that means that Arthur literally had a hand in the whole jumping of Neptune, honestly. For making them all think something that probably wasn't intended to be the case. They were all supposed to live in harmony. Remember what I said earlier when they were fighting? That we all had to live in harmony? Greenheart seemed to get the idea, but at the end of the day, she still decided to jump Neptune to make something happen, which is still kind of strange to me. That's why I still don't understand some aspects of this whole story. But yeah, no, that shit was kind of like, it got me to think differently of the goddesses now.
What?
Anyway, she wakes up now, Neptune that is, from her sleep. Histor apparently felt like it was enough with what she knows. Or maybe that was all she could do, for all we know.
Are you awake? I figured it was about time.
Yeah, after so much exposition, it makes sense. But like, damn. Yeah, no, this kind of made me like think like maybe the goddesses are not even that bad to begin with. They were just kind of made to look that way because of R4. So R4 definitely gave me the wrong impression of the goddesses if that were to be true.
I believe your lost and current memories were merging, causing you to fall into a confused state of mind.
Which for anyone in an amnesiastic state, I like to believe that's to be expected.
Are you alright? Do you recall anything now about your time as a goddess?
Probably a lot more than she would have expected.
Yeah, thanks to you. I found out a whole lot of stuff about you, the other goddesses, and R4.
It's insane how she had a hand in everything
Told
going
that I've
on.
left to go shopping. They figured you would be hungry upon regaining consciousness. It has been 6 hours.
Which is funny. 6 hours, but that's like not even that bad. But then again, I don't really eat that much these days. In fact, I don't eat at all, that I can even last up to 12 hours or even a day without eating. But obviously I don't think that's healthy either, so I don't try for that to be the case. I only eat when I feel it's necessary. Because I don't know, I can be a bit mindful at times. Maybe a bit too mindful. But anyways, okay, so here is where, yeah, I think the session ends because, yeah, we want to see what goes on. But first I actually wanted to, like, you know, get this all out of the way first. So now Neptune remembers stuff, so now we're going to just see what happens in the next session. And hopefully in the next session I can actually freaking remember to turn on my microphone, so I don't have to repeat this difficultiness again. But anyways, with all that said, for those who watched this session of Hyperdimension Neptunia, thank you for watching as always. Hope to catch you fellas for another session whenever I get to it. For now, just take it easy and have yourselves a good one.